What's up, guys? Welcome back to the TheSlamDuncan YouTube channel. This is going to be me recapping the Suns versus Bulls game where the Bulls lost a tough one against the Phoenix Suns, especially in the fourth quarter. It's kind of a big collapse by the Chicago Bulls. I want to break it down the collapse just a little bit, but mostly talk about what this Bulls team needs. The Bulls need a floor general, not a pass-first point guard. All right, and I'm going to break down what I'm trying to tell you guys when I say such a thing. And show why this team needs a floor general moving forward. But before we get into that, though, make sure you hit the like button if you're new to the channel, especially if you're a Bulls fan. Hit that subscribe button. I promise you it is worth your time if you're a Bulls fan. Go ahead and leave in the comment section down below your thoughts on this game. As you can see here in this game, Bulls lost this game by 9. They were leading for most of this game. The Bulls were up by 16 at one point, and they were leading for, I think, almost the entire game until the fourth. Disappointing to see them collapse because they had 8 turnovers in the fourth quarter and it just went downhill. Unfortunately, I see too many Bulls fans saying, wow, look, Zach LaVine turned it over and then there goes the collapse. Or Kobe White turned it over and there goes the collapse. Like, that's not true. The entire team turned the ball over. Zach had only 2 of the 8 turnovers. Like, you can't blame LaVine for the entire collapse, right? And you can't blame Kobe White for the entire collapse. This was a team collapse. While the Bulls were leading in this game, I was already telling myself, like, this, while the Bulls are playing pretty good at this, especially the second quarter, I think the second quarter was arguably one of the best quarters for the Bulls all year. I had a feeling that this Phoenix Suns team was just not going to go away, and I could easily have seen the Bulls losing this game in the second quarter. The reason being was that the Phoenix Suns were shooting horribly from downtown, right? And this Phoenix Suns team is a great three-point shooting team, right? They have a bunch of three-point shooters on their roster, but nothing was going down from three-point range, and I think this Bulls team did a pretty okay job defensively tonight, but I personally don't think that they were, locked down defenders tonight, and they were really making the Phoenix Suns struggle from three-point range. Like, they really weren't. The Suns were just missing threes tonight, and once they started hitting their threes, aka in the fourth quarter, look what happens. The Phoenix Suns take over. I legitimately thought the Phoenix Suns were playing a great game all game. It was just that their shots, points just weren't going down. Like, as you can see, 35 assists, only 7 turnovers, and I think 5 of those turnovers came in the fourth. But they were playing a solid game. It was more just that they weren't really defending early on, but even when they weren't defending, their offense seemed actually pretty good. But they just weren't capitalizing on some opportunities. And that's the reason why I feel like, yeah, the Bulls had the lead, but I'm like, this isn't like a lead built by the Bulls. This is a lead more just built by the Phoenix Suns, who are playing good basketball, just aren't putting the ball in the bucket. Yes, it's disappointing that this Bulls team let this one get away, but I have to point it out to all you Bulls fans right now that you need to stop thinking that this is a guaranteed playoff team, right? We're 15 and 17, but you know who else is 15 and 17? Basically the entire Eastern Conference right now. The fact that they even have 15 wins at this point, I actually think is a miracle. This team was not supposed to have 15 wins right now. And if you think that this team is supposed to be a guaranteed playoff team and they're failing to meet expectations, you need to check yourself. Because I'm seeing too many tweets of Bulls fans saying, oh my God, I can't believe we blew a game. This is going to ruin our chance of making the playoffs. Like, I'll bring up one right here. I follow this guy. I think he's a pretty good dude. But unfortunately, this is the stuff that I see from Bulls fans. And it's not just him. I'm just calling him out right now. But I see this all the time, right? It's like Bulls have no closers, which, by the way, we do. But starting to think the playoffs might not happen. Like, the fact that you even think the playoffs will happen, that's the problem, right? Look, we're so bad against teams over 500. I'm like, yeah, that we're not supposed to be good against teams over 500. What has been the difference from this season from the past season is that we're beating teams that we're supposed to beat. We're beating the teams that are under 500 or subpar teams, right? Last year, we didn't beat those teams. That's the reason why we have this record, is because we're beating teams that are sub 500. We're not supposed to beat the elite teams, right? Which, if you look at it right now, the elite teams are the ones over 500. The Eastern Conference right now, the 4-seed Toronto Raptors are at 500, and the rest of the Eastern Conference is under 500. And then you look out west, and you see basically only the teams in the playoffs out west are over 500. So you have a bunch of under 500 teams, and the Bulls are actually beating them, right? That's the difference from last year to this year, is that the Bulls are beating those teams. This Phoenix Suns team is a legit team. They're the 3rd seed in the West or 4th seed in the West right now. So I'm just upset with the amount of times that I'm hearing Bulls fans be like, no, we should be beating these teams. No, we're not. We're not supposed to be beating these teams. We're a developing team. We're still in rebuilding stage, right? So Bulls fans need to check yourselves right now. Now, I want to talk about the collapse that happened, and then I want to talk about CP3 and the title of this video. First off, I want to show how this collapse really did happen, right? And I want to point out that it was really the bench unit as well that like started the collapse, and then once Levine came in and Kobe White came in, that's when it just kept going downhill. It wasn't like Levine and White checking in around the 7-minute mark was the reason why it went downhill. As you can see right here, this is the start of the fourth quarter. First, Arcidiacono picking up a foul, and then Satoransky missed a jump shot, and then Young misses a layup, and then Williams misses a layup, and then Young picks up a foul. Valentine then makes a shot, right? But then Young misses a free throw. Bad turnover by Satoransky, and already at this point we're at a 2-point game, right? And this is, again, no Levine in at this point, no Kobe White in at this point. You see the collapse is happening already. Then you check in for Levine right here at 7:48, along with Kobe White, and then it just keeps going downhill. You got a shot clock violation, you got a bad turnover by Levine, right? And it just keeps going downhill. You got Wendell Carter Jr. picking up an offensive foul. You got Kobe White missing a layup, which he shouldn't have taken, right? It was from the beginning of the fourth quarter, which was the collapse, and then the Bulls, with Levine and White checking in and Wendell Carter Jr. checking in, it just kept going more downhill. It wasn't like those guys coming in with Levine, White, and Carter Jr. coming in, they weren't the start of the collapse. Main thing I want to point out here in this game is just how much lack of help Levine had this game. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think Levine had that great of a game. I think he had a pretty good first half, but in the second half, he did not play very well, in my opinion. The 5 turnovers, a lot of them were him actually trying to make the right pass, but it was split second too late, which that's good if he's trying to make the right pass, but he needs to work on his ball handling skills. But the main thing that I kept seeing in this game was the Bulls, when the collapse was happening, they started going too fast. And this was also on the veterans as well, that they started playing too fast and too downhill. And Billy Donovan talks about it all the time. It's like, he wants his team playing downhill, but not going too fast downhill. I called out Garrett Temple early in the game. He had an abysmal game. Wendell Carter Jr. did not have a good game at all. The only guys I think actually came ready to play was Levine, White, Young, and Satoransky. The rest of the guys I don't think really played that well, except for Luke Cornett in about 2.5 minutes. Now, let's really get into the title of this video. I've been a person, you can check my videos. You can even check this video up here, which I'll put in the cards. I'm one of those people right now for the Bulls, and I'm one of the few, that keeps saying that this Bulls team does not need Lonzo Ball. And to be honest, I think Lonzo Ball isn't going to fix the issues with this Bulls team. Because as many times as I heard, yes, the Bulls need a point guard, I keep hearing that, hey, no, we need a pass-first point guard. A guy that doesn't score first. And I think the biggest problem right now with Bulls fans is they do not understand what we say when we need a point guard, right? And when I say that this Bulls team needs a point guard, which they absolutely 100% do, they don't need a pass-first point guard or a point guard that can only pass. They need a guy that's an actual playmaker, or in better terms, a floor general, a coach on the floor, a guy that can control tempo, control pace, exploit matchups, know where to put guys, run offensive sets, and actually be like the coach on the floor, right? They do not need a guy that is strictly just a good passer, because we've seen with this team, even when this team had 17 turnovers tonight, they still had 25 assists. Chris Paul is by far the best floor general, in my opinion, in the NBA right now. And he doesn't lead the league in assists, right? It's not just the fact that he's a good passer, but I'm going to show you what a good floor general is. And I'm going to show you that this is not what Lonzo Ball does. This is what a floor general does, right? Watch this play right here. The Bulls are small. The Bulls are very small right now, and we have DeAndre Ayton, okay? And we have Thaddeus Young guarding DeAndre Ayton. So how can we exploit that? Let's slow this down, so controlling pace, and let's run this play. Let's run this specific set, right? And you see what Chris Paul does. So he passes it to Ayton. We're going to exploit the fact that Thaddeus Young isn't that big, right? So he's not a rim protector, and he can't really get in Ayton's face to block a pass. And this is a perfect pass by Ayton to Mikal Bridges, and it ends up in a layup. But you're thinking, well, Chris Paul didn't really do anything on this play. Well, the thing that Chris Paul did is that he was basically putting the Phoenix Suns in the offensive set. He's like, all right, we're going to slow this down. We're not going to go too fast here. I want to make sure we run this play right. That's a floor general. It doesn't mean that you're a good passer. That's just you being a coach on the floor. That's a floor general in the NBA. Let's keep this going. I want to show you even more. This next play, I think, is just, again, prime example of Chris Paul, but also just look at his patience on this play. So right here, you're seeing it's just simple pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton and him. And here's the high screen and roll. Now, Just watch Chris Paul's patience on this play. Again, this is something that I don't think Lonzo really does. All right. But Chris Paul, he's just looking straight at Luke Kornet, but he's also aware of where Kobe White, his defender, is, but also where Ayton is, right? And right now, as we continue this play, as of right here, Chris Paul can go ahead and shoot this shot, which that's not that, it's a good shot. He can make this shot, but is it the right time to do such a thing? Can you get a better shot than that shot right there, that 18-footer mid-range shot over Luke Kornet? Can he get a better shot than that? And the answer is yes. Because right now he's aware that DeAndre Ayton, where he is standing, but which is basically behind him, he's not in position to score yet. And right now the Bulls defense should only be afraid of Chris Paul shooting that jump shot. Therefore, it's pretty easy to guard Chris Paul. But once DeAndre Ayton becomes an actual threat to the Bulls defense, then it opens up everything. Now just watch. He dribbles over here. This allows DeAndre Ayton more time, and he still has handle on the ball, right? This is still just Chris Paul just keeping the dribble alive and still controlling the tempo of not going too fast or not taking the quick shot. And he's just waiting for Ayton to get into his spot as he sees that Kornet is still on him. And because Kornet basically goes with him, now Kobe White's with him. But this allows DeAndre Ayton to come into the play. And now it's a dump pass off to DeAndre Ayton. And it's a pretty simple shot from there, right? DeAndre Ayton is not a threat at the three-point line, but he is a threat in the paint. And when Chris Paul sees that he basically is drawing Ayton's defender to him, and he knows that Kobe White is going to go at him in the near future because he's coming off that screen, he just has to be patient and wait for Ayton to come over. Again, this is a floor general. This is an absolute orchestrator and a playmaker. And this is what the Bulls lack right now. And I'm going to show you a couple more plays here. This one right here. So the Bulls... I think this was off a turnover, but you see 24 seconds left on the shot clock right now, right? And you see Chris Paul's like, let's go. So, in the previous couple plays, you saw that Chris Paul is like, no, let's slow down. Let's run this play. Let's make sure we do our sets. Let's make sure everyone's in the right spot offensively. And then we're going to go to work, and then we're going to get a good shot out of it. But as you see right here, I think the Bulls just turn it over, or there's a stoppage in play, and Chris Paul's like, let's go. We're going to go right now. We need to go. Again, this is the playmaker. This is a floor general. He's like, let's go. Let's push this right now. And it's a simple high screen and roll, actually, but it's early in the shot clock. Bulls are caught off guard, and look what happens. Now Chris Paul is like, okay, I got Ayton over here, but unfortunately Devin Booker's in the paint, so this is going to prevent Ayton from getting a good shot at the rim. But I got Luke Kornet at me, and Zach isn't here to help defensively, or else this is a pass to Mikal Bridges right here. If it's just Luke Kornet one-on-one, just me one-on-one with Luke Kornet, easy. Mid-range shot. Bang. And this, again, though, 19 seconds left. This is a playmaker. This is the floor general, right? He understands when to push the ball or when to slow things down, and let's actually run a set. This is where the Bulls really need this type of player, and this is what they're lacking so badly right now. And I'm just showing you this because this is what good floor generals do. This is the absolute, and this is the reason why Chris Paul is called point god. It's because this dude knows exactly what to do at the exact right time. Bulls clearly were irritated at some call or whatever, and they were not back defensively. And Chris Paul takes advantage of that immediately. And he sees that, all right, we need to push the pace right now. But in the previous two possessions, no, let's slow it down. Let's make sure that we get the right play going and take advantage of any matchup that we see. And I think the biggest part also here is that you see the difference, right? In the first play I showed you, we had Thaddeus Young in the game. The Bulls did, right? Guarding Ayton. So then you exploit that, right? But in right here now, you have Luke Kornet in the game. And Chris Paul knows that, okay, I can't put DeAndre Ayton, in position to be a good passer or down in the low post because Kornet's bigger, he's much taller, he can get in the way of Ayton's way. So instead, let me try to take Kornet and get Kornet to be my mismatch, right? And then I can open up Ayton, or I can take the shot over him. Again, point guard, playmaker, right? So this is the type of stuff that I feel like, man, this is what the Bulls are missing. And I'm going to show you a prime example of where the Bulls are missing it. So right here, it's still a close game, right? But the Bulls have already committed a lot of turnovers. Now the Suns have the lead, right? And now here's Zach. And this play was just a pretty simple, Kobe White threw it over to Zach, and now it's a high pick and roll with the Bulls. But this is the problem already. You just see the issue. First off, you're going too quick, right? If you're the Bulls, you need to think, we need to get a good shot on this possession. And we need to, work the clock, make the defense rotate a lot. And we need to make sure we actually get a good shot off here, or else we're going to potentially let the Suns go running out again. And what happens here is that the Bulls go early in the shot clock, which was completely unnecessary. But not only that, though, you see what LaVine does here. He's forced in this situation of like, okay, I need to go score. Well, the Suns did a pretty good job today against Zach LaVine on his drive because they basically put up a wall against him. And you see right here what Zach does. He drives so quickly, and I think he was actually trying to pass his ball, but you see Mikal Bridges tip that ball before LaVine has full control of it. But again, it's the problem here is that you're going too fast. If you're the Bulls, you should have slowed it down, make sure that you took some time off the clock, and then work the shot clock to then get a good shot, right? Because this isn't like we're in transition or this is coming off of where the Suns are clearly not engaged. This is a half-court set that needs to be run like perfectly and then exploit any mismatch that you have, which the Bulls unfortunately really don't have that with this lineup out here. But how can you get Zach LaVine a better drive to the rim than just a top of the key pick and roll with very few seconds run off the shot clock, and then he's going to run into a wall? How else can you get Zach LaVine a better look inside than this, right? And he runs into Devin Booker. It's a turnover. Now, here's Chris Paul again. Again, this is point guard, playmaker, orchestrator, floor general. This is the coach on the floor. So right here, you see what Cam Johnson wants to do. He's like, oh, we got the turnover. Let's go. And this is what the Bulls would usually do, right? This young Bulls team is like, oh, we get the turnover. We got to run. We need to go out and get that fast break opportunity. But you see what Chris Paul is doing. Chris Paul already sees, okay, we don't have numbers right now. You see that Wendell Carter Jr. is back, and we only have DeAndre Ayton down the floor, and you see Valentine, you see Kobe White here, and then Devin Booker is still, like, you got three guys behind the ball right now. You see what Chris Paul does, right? He's like, no, hold on, let's wait a second here. Let's let the traffic flow by first. Let's not, take a bad shot or force our way down into the paint against the Bulls here, where we're going to run into three defenders and probably not make the shot or turn it over, right? This is, again, floor general. And this isn't passing, right? This is what I'm trying to tell people. It's like the Bulls need a point guard that's a leader, right? Not necessarily a good passer. Not a person that is going to be setting up his teammates all the time, but a guy that can do something like this and understand the situation and read the defense. And he's like, okay, let's pull this out. Now the traffic's flown by, but you see what Chris Paul's thinking automatically. His eyes are up. He sees that Ayton doesn't have the matchup right now. He isn't in good position against Wendell Carter Jr., but he sees that Zach LaVine is late, right? And so he's just going to take his time, make sure that he gets Kobe White, and this is automatically right here a problem for the Bulls because you have three Phoenix Suns on this side, but you don't have three Bulls over here guarding each individual guy. This is just bad defense by the Bulls, bad transition defense, a lack of awareness on defense. Chris Paul's like, okay, we're just going to swing it over here because this is just horrible defense by the Bulls. And now we get a wide open three-point shot instead of Cam Johnson just running right down into the Bulls' paint area or into the Bulls' defense and potentially then losing the ball or getting a shot blocked or shooting a bad shot and probably missing, right? Again, this is the leadership of a point guard. I want to show you a couple of other things too here. Like, I think a good example of what I'm trying to tell you right now is if you look at the assist numbers right now in the NBA, the person leading the league in assists is James Harden. Now, I think James Harden has actually become a player that can actually control tempo, a guy that can actually control the pace. And you're seeing right now with the Brooklyn Nets that they're playing pretty good. And I think getting James Harden was so crucial for them because I don't think Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are those type of guys, right? I think a dude like Russell Westbrook, though, I don't think he's a playmaker or a floor general. I think Russell Westbrook just goes at one speed and one speed only, and that's 110% down the middle of the lane, right? Russell Westbrook is very much just has only one speed, and that's just go. And that's not a floor general, right? And there's a difference. And I think Russell Westbrook's a pretty good passer. Hence his 9.7 assists this season, and he averaged 10 assists per game for a long time. But just because you're averaging a bunch of assists doesn't mean you're a good playmaker or a floor general, right? And I would actually say the same thing about Trae Young and Luka Doncic right now. I think Trae Young just goes really, really fast all the time, and it has actually cost the Atlanta Hawks some big games because he takes a quick shot, or he goes too fast and then shoots a bad layup, or he takes a long three-point shot when he probably should have went for a 2-for-1 situation. Like, that's the type of stuff that, yeah, Trae Young is a great passer, but it's not helping the team if he isn't that floor general on the floor. All I'm trying to say is a floor general doesn't have to be a great passer. And I would even argue that the floor general doesn't have to even be a point guard. For example, I think Draymond Green is the floor general for the Golden State Warriors. And I don't think it's that big of like a fluke that once Draymond Green came back, the Warriors are all of a sudden playing much better, not just because of his defense, but this Draymond Green is the dude yelling out to guys like, hey, no, you need to go here. We're running this play. I don't really think Steph Curry's that big of a floor general. He's more of just the scorer mentality, but Draymond's more of like, let's get guys involved. Let's actually run this play. Let's control the pace of this game, right? I think Chris Paul's the best at it. I think LeBron James is probably the second best at it. But guys like Damian Lillard, guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Kyle Lowry, Mike Conley, I think these are guys that are actual point guards and floor generals on the floor. And it's not like these guys are leading the league in assists, right? Even for a guy like Kyle Lowry, like Van Fleet is averaging just a little bit more of assists than Kyle Lowry, right? And they both handle the ball a lot. But you clearly know who the point guard is on the Toronto Raptors or the floor general is on the Toronto Raptors. And that's Kyle Lowry, right? I think a good example for the Bulls right now is what Mike Conley can bring to this Bulls team. For example, the Utah Jazz, like they were very much just the fifth seed with Ricky Rubio, who couldn't play that many games, or he was just so inconsistent. They were very much just the fifth seed, very mediocre level, with Donovan Mitchell being their all-star, and also with Rudy Gobert, and they have a solid team, right? But the problem that they had is that they just didn't have a dude that understood when to slow things down or when to actually speed things up. They were putting the ball in Donovan Mitchell's hands so much, and unfortunately with Mitchell, he's score first, right? He isn't thinking, hey, let's run this play or let's slow this down. It sucked for the Jazz because it's like you see many times in like the third quarter or the fourth quarter, and this is like 2 years ago, where it was just straight up isolation, pick and roll, and nothing worked out, and it just ended up, it's like, yeah, you may score some buckets, but that's not good basketball, right? You could have gotten a better shot, or you could have decided, hey, let's move things a little bit quicker instead of just straight up isolation, and we could have probably gotten a layup instead of taking a bad three-point shot at the end of the shot clock, right? Mike Conley, now that he's officially, one, healthy, but number two, actually implemented into the Jazz offense. You see the Jazz right now, they're at the top of the West, and I don't think that's a fluke. It's because Mike Conley's playing good basketball again, and when Mike Conley's there, this Jazz team is a completely different team. They understand, like, Mike Conley is the person that controls the tempo for the Jazz. It's not Donovan Mitchell, it's Mike Conley. He's the dude that's controlling everything, and he doesn't have that many assists per game, but he's the point guard. He's the leader. He's the floor general. And as I keep bringing up Lonzo Ball, I understand the whole appeal with Lonzo Ball. And if Karnisovas can trade Lowry for Lonzo Ball, I think he'd do it in a heartbeat right now. But I don't think that's the case at the moment. But what people need to understand with Lonzo is, while I do think Lonzo is a damn good passer and he can really pass that ball, he just does not have the intangibles of a floor general. He doesn't have the intangibles of an actual playmaker. He can pass that ball, but he doesn't have what guys like Kyle Lowry or Mike Conley or Malcolm Brogdon have. These are guys that understand situations and understand when to pull the ball out and when to run a play or how to exploit a mismatch. And again, though, it doesn't have to be through this person's passing. It could just be them saying, hey, we're running this play because we have this mismatch over here. Now, I think a good example of this is when I think Zach LaVine has actually improved in this situation. He's not going to ever get to like where Chris Paul is ever, right? But what Zach has done a lot this year, and you see, is he's recognizing, hey, when Thaddeus Young has a mismatch, we got to go to him, right? You see him break the play a couple of times, and you say, just like, no, hey, stop the play. I'm going to throw it to Garrett Temple, and he's going to pass to Thaddeus Young because Thaddeus Young has a mismatch. Like, that's what I'm talking about in terms of like a floor general or like a coach on the floor. Is that they recognize that type of stuff, and they have the power to be like, break the play, let's get this guy the ball, right? Or break the play, let's just run a simple pick and roll and take advantage of this type of mismatch, right? That's the type of stuff that I don't think Lonzo Ball has. And we keep saying that Lonzo's like a great passer and everything, and yeah. But unfortunately for all you Bulls fans, Lonzo and Kobe White are averaging the same amount of assists per game, right? So it's not like we need more passing, right? And I think Lonzo Ball is a damn good passer, but I don't really think that this assist per game is going to be going up anytime soon, especially if he gets on this Bulls team. Like, this Bulls team is just going to have so many great passers that A point guard is not going to have that many assists. But a guy like Markkanen coming in completely changes this Bulls team, right? Because now you have a dude that can actually run a play, and then he can then get Zach LaVine a better shot in the end. I know Chris Paul is averaging 8.6 assists per game this season, and you could see just how much it has helped the Phoenix Suns this year, right? Because you got a guy like Devin Booker, who's a great scorer, a great shot creator, but for the Phoenix Suns to take that next step, right, you needed a guy like Chris Paul, a floor general, right? But even last year with Chris Paul, and you saw just how much value he brings as a floor general, right? He didn't average that many assists per game, right? Look, 2019-2020 season, 6.76 assists per game, right? But it's just the fact that him paired alongside Shea, he made Shea and the Thunder so much better because he understood pace. One of the things that I loved about Chris Paul last year was he could go into the fourth quarter with 4 points and 4 assists, but he'll end the fourth quarter with 16 and 8, right? That's what Chris Paul does, is that he understands that, hey, I don't need to get all my shots early, but if I need to, I can go get it. But then come fourth quarter, when things slow down a lot and when things really should slow down, even if you're behind or if you're ahead, he understands, all right, let's run this play. And then let's get this guy involved. And let's take advantage of this mismatch. That's what Chris Paul does. And it wasn't all through his passing, as you can see. He only averaged 6.7 assists per game, which was a career low. But he was still the floor general. The Bulls need a floor general. They do not need a pass-first point guard. And look, Lonzo, I think I want this dude to show everybody that he can do everything that I say that he can. Skill set is completely different from a guy like Mike Conley or Kyle Lowry or Malcolm Brogdon, especially a Chris Paul, right? His skill set is basically just catch and shoot 3-point shots, right? And ability to pass the ball, right? That's Lonzo Ball, basically, and that's it. His defense is by far one of the best in the league right now, I think. His defense is absolutely terrific. But we're talking about floor general, and I just don't think Lonzo Ball is that. And I see a bunch of tweets saying, wow, the Bulls could really use a Lonzo Ball. Yeah, it may help, but we're talking about a floor general right now. The Bulls don't have that, right? A floor general, and I don't think Lonzo Ball fills that floor general role. And I don't know where the Bulls are going to get this. Maybe, Kyle Lowry, who knows what's going to happen with him. But I wouldn't be shocked if, Karnisovas goes out and gets a guy like Kyle Lowry. Maybe not this season, but next season. Just to at least move this team forward so that they actually have a leader at that point guard position who, he's not going to average a lot of points. He's not going to lead the league in assists, right? But he's going to actually be that leader that this Bulls team needs. Controlling pace and tempo is one of the biggest things in today's game. And the best of the best know how to do it, because if you're the team that's controlling the tempo, then the other team has to try to find their own tempo, and that's hard for them to do, especially if they don't have that point guard out there that is the floor general out there that can control the pace and tempo. So that's the end of my video. Make sure you hit that like button on this video if you enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.